So we do the chanting straight away, and then we can do the meditations before the Dharma talk. Actually, I say straight away, but I need to make an announcement first, in case any of you are interested. I'm giving a short speech tomorrow for an event in Thailand, which is being done on Zoom, along with some other speakers, obviously. And it's on world peace through inner peace. And so if you're interested in that, it's between, what is it? Our time, Australia time, 4:30 and 6 p.m. tomorrow. And I think my speech is somewhere around about 5 o'clock or something like that, 5:15 or something. Okay, so if you want to participate in that, then have a look on the Facebook page for all the details, the Zoom details, so that you can hook up. Okay, that's all. Now I'll do the chanting. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Dudayambi Buddham saranam gacchami. Dudayambi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dudayambi Sangham saranam gacchami. Tatayambi Buddham saranam gacchami. Tatayambi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Tatayambi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangham. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from their happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayada Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. Tayatam gati gati parasam gati buddhi soha. Tayatam gati gati parasam gati buddhi soha. So now get yourself ready for the meditation. So now release whatever tension you may have in your body. You can release this with your mind. You can release it on the out breath, or even manipulating your body a little bit, like stretching your body, like this, something like that. Or just in case you can't release it straight away with your mind. But if you can do it, that's the best way. Keep your body still. So releasing from the bottom of your body all the way to your shoulders, and then down your arms, end of your fingers, and then back up to the top of your head. So we'll take a short period now just to do that. We'll do it in silence. You can go through the different areas in your body, starting at the feet. So now when you are ready, place your mind onto your breathing. Feeling of the breath as you breathe in your nose, all the way into your lungs, and then out your nose again. If you have distractions, such as thoughts or mental feelings and the like, don't cling to them or grasp at them. Don't try to forcefully push them away either, or deny them. Just replace your mind back onto your breath and let them go naturally. And if you start to become dull during the meditation, your mind becoming sleepy, then wake it up a little bit by focusing more brightly on the breath. This way, replacing your mind or refocusing on the breath is the antidote for both the distracted and worried mind as well as the dull mind. And so we'll practice like this in silence for a few minutes. So now you can feel very pleased with yourself for engaging in the practice, and fill yourself with universal loving kindness. Generating this loving kindness in your own mind, or you could say in your own heart, and filling your whole being with it. Now it overflows outwards, it radiates initially to your loved ones, family and friends, and fills them with universal loving kindness as well as expanding your loving kindness outwards. And now also includes strangers. And also those that you find difficult and may even regard as enemies. May these three types of people be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. Now gradually radiate out further and further, now to include all of those living beings that live in your immediate area. The living beings that live on the land, fly through the air, live in the waters. Doesn't matter what we call them, they are all living beings. They all have the potential for enlightenment even. Maybe not in their current situation, but from once they become a human being, they can practice the Dharma. So included in this loving kindness, you have the wish that they create good karma, that they eventually create vast amounts of merits as a human being and eventually attain unsurpassed supreme enlightenment. This is part of the radiation of this loving kindness and also compassion. Now include all the living beings in your state or county and other states and counties throughout your whole country. And other countries throughout the whole world. As you're engaging in this practice, try to remain still. The more your body is still, the more the mind will remain still, and vice versa. Have your loving kindness pervade the whole solar system and the whole galaxy and the whole universe and beyond. Loving kindness radiating from your mind now radiates throughout infinite space, without limit, while at the same time be present here and now to recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhicitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. So now we're all filled with loving kindness and peace and concentration. We'll have a brief Dharma talk, continuing our discussion on the 6 transcendental perfections or paramitas. of generosity, morality, patience, effort, concentration, and wisdom. We've already gone through the generosity part, the 3 types of generosity. The giving of material aid, the giving of protection from fear, and the giving of the Dharma. And now we will move. I actually said last week we're moving on to patience, but actually there's morality first, isn't there? Or you can call discipline. So we will talk about discipline. We'll include the 3 aspects of discipline, and we will do 1 a week. Okay, so the next 3 weeks we will be talking about discipline, practicing morality. It's wonderful, like the foundation, building the foundation now, isn't it? We call the generosity the door to the Dharma, and now we're firming up our foundation, our practice of morality and discipline. And so, first of all, I'll mention that the event tomorrow, the Zoom event tomorrow, World Peace Through Inner Peace. I'll share with you, just in case you are interested in joining us, even if you can join, for as short a time as you want or for the whole event. Up to you. What I will speak about are the 6 parameters. So it kind of relates to our class and how the 6 parameters can create inner peace. And then, of course, eventually to world peace, the possibility of, okay? And then, so that's out of the way. I wrote myself a little note for that so I didn't forget, because quite often I forget to make announcements like that because it's not an announcement class, is it? It's a Dharma class. So, I'd like to mention that the morality, discipline, helps us to build this great strength, great mental strength. The self-strength helps us to be resolute in our practice. It's very important. Like mentioned previously, sometimes we get disheartened, so we need to then refocus, persevere. Practice the great effort, but also be disciplined, really patient with ourselves, of course, to be able to develop, this 1 point in concentration and then eventually the wisdom. When we have a mind that is disciplined and moral, we actually can achieve anything. Think about that. Maybe some things seem a little bit out of reach, but that doesn't mean we can't achieve them at some time if we continually discipline ourselves, continually put the other parameters into practice as well. So if you want something, even if it's worldly right now, think about something that you really want. It may be an ice cream, or it may be some cereal over there in England. But I'm just joking around a little bit, but it's something that you want to achieve, even in your work or studies, whatever, that if you're disciplined, then you can achieve this. Of course, we're talking about the Dharma path now, specifically, so we can achieve the results of the Dharma path along the way. So along the way, we can experience the results from, I use metaphor, the fields of our merit. And eventually, we can realize the fruit of the path, okay? We need to also be a good example for others. This is really important, isn't it? Just to use that, the name of tomorrow's event, World Peace Through Inner Peace. First of all, we have to develop inner peace ourselves and then radiate it outwards to be able to affect others in a good way. Initially, those close to us, then, of course, further and further, those people that, just as we do in the loving kindness meditation, our loved ones, maybe even people we don't know so much, but they live close to us, or maybe they see us on in the internet or something like that. And if we can be a good influence this way and be disciplined in doing so, this is very, very good. And it will help them to also be more disciplined in their life. Okay, the next one is to just point out that the discipline, there are 3 types again. The first one is the discipline of avoiding negative actions or avoiding non-virtuous actions of body, speech, and mind. The next one is the discipline of engaging and generating the virtuous actions of body, speech, and mind. And then, of course, there is the benefiting others. So the discipline of benefiting others, very important, especially when it relates to the bodhicitta, the developing and maintaining the bodhicitta, eventually perfecting in the long term. Okay, so those are three that I'd like to mention today. Those three that we will speak about this week. This week we will talk about the discipline of avoiding non-virtuous or negative actions of our body, speech, and mind. Next week, we will talk about the discipline of generating virtuous actions of body, speech, and mind. And the following week, we will finish up on discipline and morality by speaking about the discipline of benefiting others. Okay, may sound so simple. And some of you may have heard this many times before, either face-to-face or from other teachers, or reading Dharma books, commentaries on the sutras and so forth, or sutras themselves, or engaging in these classes, but we need to relearn these things a lot. And I will give you some extra things. Remember, the paramitas are very much to do with generating this bodhicitta mind, this altruistic intention, and that aims to enlightenment and to benefit all living beings and help them attain enlightenment as well. Much more than just like we'll speak today about avoiding the negatives, but it's actually much, much more than that. Okay, so we will add these things as well. It's almost like we've got building blocks. We start by avoiding these negatives, and then we build on top of that. Now that avoiding the negatives is strong, then we build on top of that to generating the virtuous, and then sharing this with others as well. So we should avoid the 10 non-virtues, or the 10 non-virtuous states in relation to, or actions, I should say, in relation to our body, our speech, and our mind. But, I'm sure that you've heard these before. In fact, I would have spoken about them when we started doing these Zoom classes over a year ago, when we were discussing, I was giving commentary on the Eightfold Path. So the first three relate to our body. We should avoid killing, avoid destroying life whatsoever. We should avoid stealing, taking anything that is not freely given, whether this be physical things, or it could be people's energy, or it could be time even, and other aspects too. We should also avoid any sensual misconduct, such as adultery, or forcing sensual conduct onto others, especially these, but also coercing others in this area as well. We should avoid this. It can only bring suffering. If we engage in any of these three that relate to our physical activities, our body, then it can only lead to suffering for ourselves and for others that are affected by it, including other sentient beings other than humans as well. So avoid killing, even tiny insects. I like to say that if we can avoid killing and destroying the life of those living beings that we can see or can perceive with our limited abilities of perception right now, but we can perceive them, but they are so different to us in many ways. If we can stop ourselves from destroying their lives and harming them in any way even, then it is much more likely that we will be able to bring benefit to human beings that are more like us, especially physically. And also those other living beings that we have some sort of affinity towards. So if we can stop ourselves from killing things we find irritating, or destroying the lives of these beings, or even scary beings. Maybe you're a surfer, you like to go swimming in the ocean. Maybe you're scared of sharks. Don't destroy them. Save their lives. but maybe don't go surfing or swimming when it's feeding time, because that's their home. We're actually going into their home. That's just a very obvious example. But even more so, I mentioned in one of the previous classes about, not being involved indirectly in the destroying of other beings' lives. If you think about it, when we're destroying other beings' lives, doesn't matter who they are, what they are, whether it's directly or indirectly, whether it's, really strong emotions behind our actions, or whether it's, we do it by accident, then those living beings are going to suffer. And we ourselves eventually plant the seeds, or straight away we plant the seed in our mind of the negative karma of different intensities, depending on our intention and motivation behind the act. Eventually we will experience the fruit of this karma, which will be suffering. Okay? So try your best. Once again, next week we'll talk about what to do, in a sense. So today is kind of like what not to do, what to avoid doing. Okay, so then again, stealing things, taking what is not freely given. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it could be something really subtle. We could be in the habit of, coercing somebody to give us things, or some people to give us things. That's our habit, but they don't really want to do it. So this is also taking what is not really freely given. So then also, like I mentioned, in the activities, if it's sexual activities or sensual activities with others, then we should do so with care, not by hurting or harming them or taking something from them and causing them to suffer. Okay, so that's the 3 that relate to the body, to our physical actions. Then there are 4 that relate to speech, just like in the Eightfold Path, the right speech. And that is avoid lying, telling non-truths, avoid slandering, also known as a divisive speech, avoid speaking harshly and abusively, and avoid meaningless chatter or gossip. Once again, I'll remind you, even though I'm sure you know this already, all of you, if we lie, then of course this can never lead to truth. The first person we're lying to is ourselves. And so eventually our mind becomes habituated with being in non-truths, lack of honesty to ourselves, but also a lack of honesty to others can lead to a lack of trust. And even if you're trying to do something good, you won't be listened to, because you have created, you can kind of say like the vibes, not to be trusted. Also, don't speak to divide others or slander others. What that does is it takes your focus off your own training, your own mind, because you're picking on the faults of others. And then you're sharing with maybe other people something you don't like about someone else, trying to divide them. Rather, this is adding to any problems that may be there. We should always be the solution. Like I say, we should be like the water on the flame, not the fuel, not extra fuel. Also, avoid abusive speech and harsh speech. First of all, when we're communicating with others, we never know how they're going to take it. Even if we're joking or trying to get a message across, we never really know how the other person is going to take it. And also we may be creating and reinforcing the habit of doing so ourselves. For instance, in some workplaces, I think maybe there's a lot of machoism. Maybe there's a lot of swearing. They don't even know they're swearing. And then they take it somewhere else and maybe they continue it and it will offend other people. And therefore, people won't listen to you. Listen to them, I should say. And maybe even avoid them because they don't like this type of speech. Remember, speech is for communicating with others as clearly and precisely as we can. Otherwise we're just, so often we're just repeating what we already know, or we're trying to get our opinions across, our views across, trying to cover up our own faults. Which, as mentioned, it's really important that we see our own faults so that we can purify them, so that we can adopt the opposites and so forth. Then, of course, avoid meaningless chatter or gossip. That's really important, because how can you develop wisdom? How can you develop understanding and true knowledge if you're speaking meaninglessly? Your conversations then will be meaningless. I think that's enough for that, because we have spoken about this in detail before. And then, of course, we have the last 3 of the 10 non-virtues that we need to avoid relate to the mind. The first one is to avoid a covetous mind, always desiring things, desiring what others have, for instance. You can also call it a desirous mind, always wanting this. It also leads to not wanting other things. Okay, so we should try to avoid this state of mind. We will never be content if we have this state of mind, never be peaceful. We should also avoid ill will or harmful intentions. Once again, if we have this ill will or harmful intentions, just like the other negatives, it comes back on you. It's like we are looking in the mirror. Even if we think we have harmful intentions towards others, or even things, other types of phenomena, animate or inanimate, actually it comes back to us, So we need to avoid having ill will or harmful intentions. And also, even though we're not perfect yet, okay, we should avoid as much as possible having wrong views. For instance, not believing in the law of karma. We should avoid that. And even if you don't fully understand the law of karma at the moment, I think you can utilize your investigative skills and your analytical skills to be able to realize on a certain level the validity, through valid reasoning, using your intelligence, that the law of karma is cause and effect, it's moment to moment to moment. It's valid, okay? So, should avoid having this, what we can call nihilistic view, an extreme view. Also avoid this, having a view such as eternalism view, the creation sort of theory and things like that, points something outside of yourself. Also avoid perceiving those things in conditioned phenomena or in conditioned existence. All phenomena are impermanent, and should avoid having the view that they're permanent. Avoid having the view that what is really unsatisfactory and suffering is actually satisfactory and some form of happiness or something. As well as avoiding the view that there is this permanent non-changing self, that actually there is no such thing. Okay, the 3 marks of existence I just spoke about, and that nirvana is freedom from all of this cyclic existence, and avoid having the view that it's not like this. Okay, and I think that that'll do for that, because like I said, we've gone into more details in the past, and so I think that, what have I got on my screen? Your network bandwidth is low, so hopefully there's no interruptions happening here. I don't have how long we have to go. I think it's probably only a few minutes, so maybe I can see Leanne there. It's 3 minutes. Okay, so let me know when there's one. Just go and put your finger up for that for me. Okay, because I think there's the internet, the weather's really wild here today, because the internet's a bit of a problem. Then I don't have the clock ticking down. Okay, so there's those 3. We should avoid also breaking our vows, the pratimoksha vows, or the vows to liberation, such as the vows of don't kill, don't steal, and so forth. And also, if you take the bodhisattva vows, avoid breaking these vows as much as possible. If you take the samaya vows, the tantric vows, then also once again try your best to avoid, I've got the time once again now it's 2 minutes. So avoid this as well. And especially avoid heavy negative actions, with heavy, intense intentions. Okay, we're going to make mistakes along the way. When we do, if we break the vows, okay, if we go backwards for a moment on the Dharma path, then engage in purification practice. Okay, like we've spoken about, the 4 powers of purification. Have some regret, some positive, non-clinging regret, then resolve not to engage in this action, either of body, of speech, or mind, or all of them together again, or at very least to do your best to decrease the habit of doing these negative things, and do it towards virtuous objects such as the Buddha, your teachers, and so forth, and also engage in the practice. Don't put it off. And so I think that's enough. Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple more things there, but I think I've covered them. So less than a minute to go. I hope that you have enjoyed the Dharma talk today, and I hope you didn't have a distracted mind too much. I hope you didn't find it boring and you got all dull and sleepy here too. Okay, so I really rejoice in your goodness always. Keep practicing the Dharma to the best of your abilities, and try to keep a really calm mind as much as possible in difficult times especially, and a positive attitude. All good things, positive things come from a positive mind initially. So I rejoice in your merits always.